I'm Abigail Christopher. I graduated from Lee in 2017 with a BA in Anthropology. I knew I was coming to Lee, but I was undeclared, and for some crazy reason, definitely it was God, they put me in Alan Wheeler's they sent me to his office for him to advise me. And I walked in, he had all of these South American kachinas, and he had Mongolian reindeer herding boots. And I looked across the table at him and I said, "Whatever you teach, it's what I'm going to study." I say this all the time still. I would not want to study anthropology anywhere else but Lee, just because of the professors that we have, but also the Christian context of studying anthropology. Studying anthropology at Lee and in the classroom helps me develop my Christian thinking in a way that I can be both a Christian and an academic. The two things didn't have to be separate anymore. And I had mentors like Dr. Dirksen who just said, just come to Africa, come out to Colorado and dig, come to Kenya, come to Liberia, come to Turkey. And it was just almost overwhelming because it's what I had prayed for. In my senior year of high school, I got my passport and I knew I wanted to do missions, and I laid it out and I prayed over my passport and I said, "God, you fill this, but do what you want to do." And by the time I left Lee, I'd been to over 20 countries. I went on several field digging sites with Dr. Dirksen to Colorado on a team with Western Wyoming Archaeological Services, and I was very fortunate to be an undergrad and have my hands in the dirt, which doesn't happen often at all. And so I did archiving, and we did art panel, like interpretations and things like that, but we also got to have a lot of fun while we were out there and go hiking and climbing and things like that. And then I also was fortunate enough to get a scholarship to go and do post-Ebola research in Liberia with Dr. Dirksen. And that really shaped my future, and it really set my heart ablaze for missions that are holistic and that are culture honoring. And so right now I live in Queenstown, New Zealand with an organization called Youth with a Mission, which is also known as YWAM. And so I basically train other missionaries from around the world, and then I take them on outreaches to different countries. I chose YWAM because they were so decentralized, and I've always seen really big missions organizations, but YWAM had a certain flavor to it that said, we want to go where the Spirit goes, and that really attracted me to it, that there was such an open door. As a 22-year-old, I started with YWAM in just a discipleship training school, and from there they trusted me with so much ministry, and they trusted me to hear the voice of God for myself. And for me, that was really rare to see in ministry as a young single female, to just kind of say, we believe in the Holy Spirit in you, and that He can take you anywhere, you can do anything with it. So I have students from all around the world who come to New Zealand for their training, but then we send them to all around the world as well. And so this year alone, I've been to New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Australia, Mongolia, Norway, and Hawaii. All the times that I did undergraduate research in different countries, I applied the same principles there of, okay, Lord, how can we help these people? And what about this culture is helping them right now? What about this culture is harming them for a long-term future? And so I kind of get to go into these contexts, and still I feel like an anthropologist. Just like if you're passionate about worship, there's obviously a way to reach people through worship, but also something like adventure sports. Everyone's seeking adrenaline and they want to, jump off a canyon and do all these crazy things. But there's a reason why we're hardwired with certain passions and interests, and I think when you mix passion and your calling together, that's your purpose. Lee prepared me to be the best Christian I could be, while also preparing me to be the best anthropologist I could be. And those two things together kind of swung open the doors, and now I have access to countries that I couldn't have access to as a missionary. But I get to be an anthropologist, and I get to be a cultural researcher. And so it's kind of like swung open the doors in ways that I couldn't have really planned or thought of myself.